I'm Rachel from 7 in All, and today I'm going to talk about what do you do with a bouquet that gets old. Now, it's Valentine's Day, or it's Mother's Day, your birthday, your anniversary, one of those few times in a year when you get a beautiful bouquet of flowers for one reason or another. And that's awesome, but then in a couple days, they start to not look so good. And I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I think flowers are worthwhile and beautiful to have around the home, even though they die in a couple of days. I always appreciate a nice bouquet of flowers, and I don't mind that they die. But I am pretty minimalist, pretty frugal, and I like to make the most of whatever I do have. So I got to thinking, what can you do with flowers, with a bouquet of flowers that's dying? Is there any way that I can maximize my benefit and my use for these? And I came up with some good ideas. I was doing a little bit of research about what can you do with an old bouquet of flowers. It seemed like most of the articles I was finding had 5 ways to use your old bouquet or 5 ways to repurpose your bouquet of flowers. But it didn't really seem like 5 ways. It seemed like just press the flowers and use them in 5 different types of crafts. And I thought, surely we can do better than this. Surely we have more imagination than this. Pressing flowers is not the only awesome thing that you can do with them. So that's when I thought I need to make a video. Because as a homeschool mom, as a minimalist mom, frugal, I like to maximize what I have. I think I can show you some pretty cool stuff that we can do with old flowers. So the first idea I had was that we could do a flower dissection. Whoever said that when you're dissecting, it needs to be with something gross, like a frog or a worm? Now, granted, dissection was my least favorite thing to do in high school because I don't like cutting up frogs and worms. But cutting up flowers and plants, now that seems pretty interesting. Now, depending on the age of your kids and what you're studying, you could be pointing out different types of things. As you take apart your flowers, you could point out, look for the seeds and the stamens and pistils. You could compare the different shapes and different sizes of petals from one type of flower to another. You could cut open the stem lengthwise or crosswise to look at the kind of tubes that are in to help bring the water from the roots to the flower. There's lots of cool ways you could take this. So take your old flowers from a bouquet, maybe go outside if you want, and take them apart with your kids and see what you can learn about plants by getting on the inside of them. You can see this flower is quite wilted already, but we can start taking it apart and seeing what is a flower made out of. Wow, this one has a whole lot of petals. Big petals and some smaller ones around the center. You can really get into the center there and start separating, putting the different parts in different areas so that we can look at them a little closer once we have the whole flower torn apart. We can also cut open the stem and look at the inside, seeing what that looks like. My next idea is that you could paint with flowers or paint with the leaves and different parts of the flowers, even the stems. This is a very popular type of craft to use different and weird kind of items to do paint stamping with. You can just get any kind of tempera or poster paint and maybe a foam brush and take apart the stems, the leaves, the flowers. I'll show you how I would do it in a minute. And don't worry if it's not turning out into the most beautiful, picturesque painting with flowers. That's not the goal here. The goal is just to have fun, to give your kids an interesting sensory experience, experiment with art, and make use of something that was going to be thrown out anyways. So you can use like a sponge paintbrush to just apply some paint, and it's not going to be perfect, especially if you're doing this activity with kids. That's part of the fun of it. But just trying to use different parts of the plant to paint with and see what the results are like. So we'll apply paint all over this, and then we'll stamp it on the paper. I cut the stem off to make it easier to hold and to work with, so we just have a little bit of stem left. All right, let's see what our results are. Hey, it's pretty cool. Another idea is that you could use your flowers to play dress up. If you have little girls or little boys, you could practice with some new hairstyles. You could make a little boutonniere and pin it onto their shirt, go outdoors and have some fun. It doesn't matter that the flowers aren't in perfect condition anymore when you're just playing at being princesses and princes. And you can have some fun, you can try it out. If you find a hairstyle that you like that uses flowers, then maybe sometime you can use it with fresh flowers for an actual special event. But it's kind of nice to practice with some flowers that are a little bit wilted or a little bit dried out, because if you mess it up, then no money wasted and you can still have fun. Here I've just pinned some little flowers into Sarah's beautiful long braid. So that's a cute way to do a little flower hairstyle. If you have a garden or some kind of outside area, you can also compost an old bouquet. Just make sure to take off any plastic or tape or wires that may be holding the flowers together. For thicker stemmed flowers, you might want to chop them up with some kitchen shears before you put them into your compost bin, but these flowers can compost very well. And hey, it's a lot better, more useful, less wasteful than throwing them into your garbage bin. But you can use them for compost too. If you have a garden or some kind of outside area, you can also compost an old bouquet. Just make sure to take off any plastic or tape or wires that may be holding the flowers together. For thicker stemmed flowers, you might want to chop them up with some kitchen shears before you put them into your compost bin, but these flowers can compost very well. And hey, it's a lot better, more useful, less wasteful than throwing them into your garbage bin. But you can use them for compost too. And finally, yes, of course, you can press flowers and use pressed flowers to make a variety of different crafts. Laminate them to bookmarks, make greeting cards with them, even put them around the sides of candles. There are really cool crafts that you can make with pressed flowers. I'm not against pressing flowers. I'm just saying, let's think outside the box a little bit. And if you live in a humid climate, it can be a little bit harder to press flowers. We live in a very humid climate. So I found that if you try it, definitely try it with very thin flowers, or you can take the petals off of larger flowers to press those individually. And you might want to change the paper towel that you're using to press them with after a day or two, and really keep an eye on them, because if you live in a humid climate, you might end up with moldy flowers instead of pressed flowers. I hope that you really enjoyed these somewhat outside the box, minimalist, low waste ideas for making the most of your holiday bouquet. And this has been 7 in all. You can feel free to subscribe to our channel and like this video. You can check the description box below for more links to other homeschooling and minimalism related videos. We are a creative and adventurous homeschooling family, and we would love to have you follow our journey. Thanks for watching.